Yeah.
Oh wow, Dominion is Canadian. Yeah, that would do it.
Hmm.
Um, I have a strong opinion on this, Artemis. I'm sure you would agree. Perhaps you'd give me your take that digital voting should be banned everywhere forever.
So one of the great things is that when I was telling you about the Georgia case where they're like, you know what, we're probably not going to use voting machines this time around. Once again, this high speed tech guy was in court talking about Dominion voting machines, and they had a one on display for everybody to see. There's
Yep.
a legitimate one, and he gets up and he's doing his presentation. He asks for the state's representative's lawyer's pen, takes it, walks out of the voting machine, and within 10 minutes has already jailbroke it, and asks which files
Yep.
and asks what files they want to be deleted off of the machine.
Yep. Don't they run Windows with like network connections? It's nuts that they could do that. It's incredible.
Yeah.
They just need to count. Like if they wanted to make a digital voting machine, the only thing I would allow is hardware counter and nothing else.
Yeah.
Like if you can see the counter, the circuit, if you can see the circuitry, that's the closest. But no, still not that.
Mm-hmm. So what he did was that all he took was the pen, is that he hit the power button, held it for 10 seconds, and then it booted up again, did a restart boot, and then he clicked, I think it was, he hit shut down, and then it brought up another prompt screen. He hit another button, and it put it into giving you the option of full shutdown, reboot, or safe boot. He clicked safe boot, and then that opened up the ability to modify all the files.
Very nice. I'm guessing that they
whatever we wanted.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they have a program that starts up with Windows as like a management software that controls the system and safe mode system.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. I love how, like, as I just explained, a very, very, very basic digital voting system is, it's not great, but it's better. But what they have is like, you've got layers upon layers upon layers of abstraction and instruction sets and conventions and an operating system and junk in the OS and all the drivers, all these layers where you could just put some little tiny bit of code that could change everything instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't even get it right on the operating system level. With all these tools out there to customize Windows you don't even have to use Windows. You can use anything. All this stuff, it's conventional computing. They can do anything, and they still fucked it up on the most simple level. And this is the standard for everyone. Not quite everyone, but it's a very widely used standard in North America. It's amazing how incompetent that is.
There was an investigation done by the Arizona Senate Committee on voting. Voting committee, I think, is what it is. No, it was the elections committee. That's what it was. Where they hired a organization. I think it's called Cyber Ninja, or I think, and they went through all of these they went through all of the security vulnerabilities one by one.
Yeah,
they did 2 hours.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like this has been a problem. As I said, even if the digital voting systems are as good as digital voting systems can be, I still don't trust them. Mm-hmm. But to think they're that bad, it's atrocious.
One of the great things they found is right, there's an audit log of like things that a user does. You can find that on almost every computer.
Yeah. And
there's a program almost on every one of those Arizona voting machines where if you run it, it will create a shit ton of log entries to the maximum amount of logs available in the program that allows it. And then what most programs do is that they delete the last. They delete the oldest and replace it with the newest.
Yeah.
And so you'll delete an actual audit log of something that was changed or done or whatever. And what this does is that it basically, the program iterates it all over again until all of it's white with just new audit things that are just random garbage. And so you just hide whatever was done without permission or whatever. And they didn't have any what's called non-repudiation. They only had a single sign-on account for all the people all the staff to use on that machine. So you wouldn't be able to tell who it was unless you had all the cameras, images or recordings to tell who was on it at that time and running
Holy
it.
shit. That's so bad.
And but the thing is that Cyber Ninja had those camera recordings of the entire day, and so they had the names of the people who were running this code. It's just that that was back in, I believe, May or June of 2023, and I just haven't seen anything about it go anywhere after that.
Dude, when I was in school, the fucking IT room had better security than that.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It needs to never happen again. Paper ballots are not perfect, but they do not rely on the laws of whoever wrote the program. They rely on the laws of physics. It's a bit more stable, a bit more reliable, a bit more approachable. So yeah, paper ballots everywhere.
And multiple Western countries still use paper ballots and count it by hand.
Yeah.
Taiwan specifically had Taiwan had a specific election just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. 20 million people were counted in one day by hand.
It can be done. Yeah, I mean the Asians are good at counting, but still, they can be done here too. But yeah, I saw some footage. I think it may have been from South Korea, but it may have been Taiwan, where like the way they do it is the woman has like a set of these vote slips, and it's very clearly written what the vote is for. She holds it up, shrilly shouts out the votes, and so the audience can see it, and can see it matches the card. The audience is watching, and the guy who's counting the votes writes what she shouted. And I'm hoping that there's a camera on what he's writing, and then there's a screen with what he writes on the side. So if anyone sees anything illegal, they can just say, whoa, 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 stop, and then the whole thing stops, and they check everything. You know, that's the right way. Like it's not difficult to make even paper ballot voting pretty much rock solid. It's not that difficult. With digital, it is in principle impossible to make it rock solid. It's a really bad idea. With paper ballots, you can make it pretty much rock solid with just a few sensible procedures.
I just find it hilarious that when Dominion voting was exposed for having what's called weighted score voting programs on their machines, who is that for?
Oh, I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, like what country that they're supposed to be contracted with uses weighted score voting? Like what company even uses this shit for that? Like any other company, I don't know anybody who would use a weighted scored voting based off of ethnicity, because that's what you could do with it.
Oh my God,
or weighted scored voting for based off of the party as well. You can do that too. It doesn't make sense for that program to ever have existed in the first place.
No, it doesn't. If you're making voting machines, as I said already, the only way you should do it is like the most simple and transparent digital counter. Just an adder circuit and then a couple of rows for the count. You do not need an instruction set even. You do not need a processor beyond like a basic like microchip. You do not need a motherboard, a PCI shit. You do not need drivers and an operating system, any of that stuff. All of it makes it so much less secure and frankly so much more suspicious. And it's all come out. Every governor should be aware of this.
Any company that has that on their default software for a voting machine should just be banned from being in elections. Yeah. Because the fact that you have it on the default setup means that it can be used in the election, because when you factory reset a device, it allows that to be utilized.
Yeah. Yep. Meatbun asks, didn't they use floating point numbers for the count as well? I wouldn't be surprised. But as long as it was big enough, like bit width, it shouldn't have mattered for the numbers they were using. Floating point is obviously the wrong format of numbers for that. You should be using obviously ints or longs, or whatever the language uses. But floating point, it shouldn't actually matter in practice unless you get to very, very high numbers until you start skipping individual count. But yeah, it's stupid to use that, obviously. And yeah, dang, there was some evidence of like fractional votes as well. There was also some statistical analysis right after the election that we covered, which showed that Dominion voting machines and among loads of other voting machine companies gave a straight, like a flat, constant 5% bonus. Yeah, I'm aware that they can do that. ECC RAM helps, but it's not perfect.
So here's the issue, right? So do you know what it takes to actually get particles to affect a hard drive like that?
An absolute fluke.
Yeah, well, sure. So much so that the only real recorded at ground level, like fluke that has taken place, has been where it changed a speed run in a video game.
Yes,
in this
I
fucking
heard about
election.
that.
So it's like, okay, well, if it's so remote, why would they think that this was the thing that caused it and not just a program coded to flip that?
Yeah,
integer?
exactly. Yeah.
So, what is more likely?
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing that how I love that they basically proved it was a it was a cosmic ray that did that neat one. Error correcting RAM can solve this when it flips a bit in the RAM, but it could flip a bit in a processor register. I don't know if they error correct. I doubt they do. So you could always get this kind of problem happening at some point.
Oh yeah, that was like that one speed run that changed it can never be replicated. So the speed run is permanently unbeatable.
Yeah, I love that. That is weird though. That is. I haven't looked into the story. I don't know how like rock solidly confirmed that's been, but that is so funny.